In the skies over World War II, Allied bombers were being shot down at a terrifying rate. Imagine 1,000 planes flying into the heart of Germany. On a bad day, 100 of them wouldn't be coming home. The whole idea of a self-defending bomber, an invincible flying fortress, had been proven tragically wrong by the Luftwaffe's relentless fighters. The entire daylight bombing campaign, which was absolutely essential for crippling the Nazi war machine, was on the verge of total collapse. A solution was needed, and it was needed fast. What the Allies didn't know was that the answer wasn't just a new plane. It was a radical combination of two different breakthroughs that would create a fighter so dominant it would literally change the course of the war. Hermann Göring, the head of the German Air Force, famously said that when he saw American fighters over Berlin, he knew the war was lost. He wasn't just looking at any fighter. He was looking at the P-51 Mustang, a plane that just a year earlier was considered, well, mediocre. It struggled badly at high altitudes. So what happened? How did this unremarkable aircraft become the single most decisive weapon in the European air war? The answer isn't just one secret, but two, that when put together, created an absolute legend. The problem, a sky full of ghosts. By 1943, things were looking grim. Every bombing mission deep into enemy territory was a brutal gamble. American B-17s and B-24s covered in machine guns were supposed to form flying strongholds that could protect themselves. But that wasn't how it played out. German fighters, like the Messerschmitt Bf-109 and the Focke-Wulf FW-190, were experts at tearing these bomber formations to pieces with terrifying precision. The core of the problem, plain and simple, was range. Allied fighters like the incredible Spitfire and the tough P-47 Thunderbolt were great planes, but they were thirsty. They just didn't have the gas to escort the bombers all the way to their targets and back. And the Germans knew it. They would patiently wait, just out of reach. And the second the Allied escorts, the little friends, had to turn for home, the wolves of the Luftwaffe would pounce on the now defenseless bombers. The losses were staggering. On some missions, the casualty rates for bomber crews were unsustainable. The American 8th Air Force was bleeding out, and the whole strategy of daylight precision bombing was hanging by a thread. Without a fighter that could go all the way to Berlin and back, the air war could be lost. The first secret, a wing of the future. The story of the P-51 Mustang doesn't start with a flash of genius, but with a simple business request. In 1940, the British came to North American Aviation, or NAA, hoping to get them to build the Curtiss P-40 Warhawk. But NAA's lead designer, Edgar Schmude, had a better idea. He said, "Let us design a brand new, more modern fighter from scratch." In what was an incredible feat of engineering, they went from a signed contract to a flying prototype in just 149 days. The heart of this new design was a truly revolutionary piece of technology, the laminar flow wing. Developed with the help of NACA, the precursor to NASA, this wing was different from anything else at the time. See, most wings were thickest near the front. The P-51's wing pushed that thickest point way back, to about the middle of the wing. It's a simple change, but it had a massive effect. It let the air flow smoothly over the wing surface for much longer before it became turbulent. Less turbulence means less drag, a lot less drag. In the real world, that meant more speed and, crucially, way better fuel efficiency. This wing was the first key to unlocking the extreme range the Allies so desperately needed. The rest of the airframe was just as sleek and efficient, but there was one major problem. The Allison engine it was first built with was great down low, but it was completely asthmatic at the high altitudes where the bombers flew. The Mustang had the legs, but it just didn't have the lungs. The second secret, the Merlin's roar. The perfect airframe had been built, but it was missing its soulmate, and that soulmate was across the ocean, powering Britain's legendary fighter, the Supermarine Spitfire. It was, of course, the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine. British test pilots saw the Mustang's amazing potential, but were frustrated by its performance up high. Then, in a brilliant moment of teamwork, someone suggested it. Why not try putting a Merlin into a Mustang? So, in mid-1942, they did. They experimentally fitted a few Mustangs with the powerful two-stage supercharged Merlin. The results weren't just good, they were stunning. The plane was completely transformed, almost overnight. Its performance above 15,000 feet just went through the roof. The Packard V1650, an American-built version of the Merlin, was rushed into mass production for the new P-51B and C models. This marriage of a cutting-edge American airframe and a powerhouse British-designed engine was the final piece of the puzzle. The Mustang was no longer just a decent low-level fighter, it was now a high-altitude, long-range monster that could hit speeds over 437 miles per hour. It could climb faster, fly higher, and flat-out run its German opponents. The combination of that low-drag wing and the high-altitude Merlin created the ultimate weapon. It had speed, agility, and the incredible range to fly with the bombers all the way to their targets and all the way home. The unstoppable force. When the Merlin-powered P-51s arrived in Europe in late 1943, it was the turning point of the air war. For the first time ever, American bomber crews looked out their windows and saw friendly fighters sticking with them for the entire terrifying mission. Morale, which had been dangerously low, shot sky high. For the Luftwaffe, the effect was devastating. German pilots who were used to having their way with unescorted bombers were now suddenly facing an opponent that was their superior. The P-51 could not only match the best German fighters, but in many ways, it could beat them. Its .650 caliber machine guns packed a massive punch, and later models with the bubble canopy gave pilots an incredible 360-degree view, a life-or-death advantage in a dogfight. The new Allied tactic was simple and brutal. Go get 'em. Mustang pilots were let off the leash, freed from having to fly in tight formation with the bombers to actively hunt and destroy the Luftwaffe wherever they could find them. And the numbers? The numbers back up the legend. P-51 pilots claim to have destroyed 4,150 enemy aircraft in air-to-air combat, more than any other Allied fighter in Europe. During Big Week in February 1944, a massive attack on German aircraft factories, the Mustangs helped shatter the Luftwaffe's fighting strength. Bomber loss rates, which had once been as high as 16%, dropped to less than 1% on some missions. By D-Day in June 1944, the Allies had total air superiority over Western Europe, a goal that was achieved in large part thanks to the Mustang. The P-51 Mustang really shows what can happen when you combine the best ideas and technologies, no matter where they come from. Its history is just packed with amazing stories of engineering and bravery. If you love learning about the incredible machines that shaped our world, think about subscribing and hitting that notification bell for more stories like this. What other piece of military hardware do you think had a war-winning impact? Let us all know in the comments below. From a promising but flawed aircraft to the undisputed king of the skies, the P-51 Mustang's transformation is one of the great stories of World War II. It wasn't just one secret weapon, but the perfect fusion of two: a revolutionary airframe that could sip fuel, and a legendary engine that delivered pure power. The laminar flow wing gave it the legs to cross a continent, and the Rolls-Royce Merlin gave it the muscle to win the fight when it got there. This combination didn't just create a fantastic fighter, it created a strategic game-changer. The Mustang saved the Allied bombing campaign, it broke the back of the Luftwaffe, and it helped guarantee the success of D-Day. It's a powerful symbol of ingenuity and shows how a single machine, done right, can change the course of history. The P-51 Mustang wasn't just unstoppable, it was the plane that won the air war.